Straight. Swing. Swing? Swing eights or straight eights?
I think it's swung.
Okay.
Except for 34.
Well,
glare at me if you don't like it.
You do what you feel is appropriate.
I'm glaring already.
We I've been there.
We're going to leave the optional repeat out, correct?
So no repeat at 5 or no repeat at 22?
No, 5 is good, 22 is good, 51 is not good.
Gotcha.
Sorry. Right.
Repeat at 5 is good, 22 is good, 51 is not good.
51 sucks. It's not. How fast?
Is that the original tempo? It's a bit faster.
Because it'll be safer when I'm reading them. Up there?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. No, I just have play.
Okay, because we have repeat here, but we don't.
I don't have that.
Okay, then don't worry about it.
Okay.
That's 50.
So we jump after the second inning. We jump straight to bar 50, 49, 48, 47.
Correct.
And just play it as what for the rest of the track.
Correct.
Cool.
Do I really do the buzzing? No, none of that shit.
Wait, do you have a IKEA trumpet for this?
No, I just have the IKEA card.
Select all three.
I have a plastic trumpet.
What? Whatever he does.
On, two, three.
Usually also slow down in the second half.
It makes sense when you hear it once. I'm going to write that in. Then I'll know it next time.
This is the one, Fred. This is the one you've been waiting for.
Okay, and there's only one repeat in that. That's between 53 and 68.
And just whatever you do, don't listen to the trombone.
Okay.
We need to mend that.
I can fix that. Yep, that's good.
Am I the only one? Oh, we all do it. Okay. Oh, it's just the two of us. That's third.
Virtuosic.
That's right. Only I can do it.
Only.
It's talent.
It's a gift.
This one has a lot of tempo change in it. Have you done it before?
Once or twice. I just remember I followed him except for one spot. Where is the one spot? Oh,
This
right,
is
going
a
into
medley of-
77. That's all me. Yeah.
Pick up to 85. You know.
Pick up to 85.
And no repeats. It's straight through, no roadmap.
Only he's in on B1, so make sure you please give it.
There's,
I'll give it in time. Make sure that
each one has
should be
its
enough.
sort of
Yeah.
tempo. And, well, you might recognize something. A sort of easy waltz.
Yeah. So repeat at 37 is good, and repeat at 75 is no good. And I play the solo at 75. Got it.
Repeat at 104 is
One
good.
chorus.
Thank you.
It's enough. Thank you.
That's a plenty.
That's plenty.
Definitely.
Does it happen?
Yes, sir.
As fast as you dare.
One, two, I want two, three.
Thank you very much. Roaring applause. Well, it's 2:30.
Is it pop time?
See any sign of the session being ready?
Look for the sign.
I saw the sign. I didn't open up my eyes. I saw the sign.
And all that she wants is another baby.
Short.
Oh, I
Wait,
hope
is that the same era?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm fixed already. I've had this
Want to do
no more babies.
entertainer without any repeats?
That's the best way.
Second time over.
Got it.
Second time only raps.
There?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And we'll
every
switch
time
when we get to the end of the not repeated repeat.
at 50, yeah.
Okay. And then
And
we'll
then-
switch every major section. Okay, got
Perfect.
it.
So blue repeats equals bad, red repeats equals good.
Very, very unmistakable start to this, so that they know for sure. Very accomplished. Right, we started the
The University of Alberta Invocation. Please stay standing. All praise to you, gracious Creator. You have gathered us in this university community to praise you by our words and our deeds. Bless the University of Alberta, which seeks to teach whatsoever things are true, and this faculty, which strives to produce leaders and servants committed to the betterment of this world. Bless the students and professors, the non-academic staff and support staff, the administration, and those who volunteer on the University Board of Governors, Senate, and Alumni Council, and all who promote sound education in our community. We ask that those who leave here today, blessed with their degrees, may be given grace and strength to lead and serve in our global home. May we grow in wisdom and grace before you and all your people. May this university always be home of truth, of wisdom, of faith, and goodwill towards all. Please be seated. Good afternoon and welcome to the University of Alberta Augustana Campus Convocation. My wife and I traveled across the prairies this morning from Edmonton to Augustana and couldn't help but notice the beauty and tranquility of our wonderful prairie landscape. How it's burst out into life and renewal over the past 3 weeks is truly one of the great transformations, and the type of transformation I think that many of our students will be seeing over the next short time. My name is Ralph Young, and I have the privilege of serving as the Chancellor of the University of Alberta and representing the public interest in our university. To begin, I wish to acknowledge and honor all Indigenous peoples, including the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations of Treaty 6, and to acknowledge the traditional lands on which we are gathered today. I also wish to acknowledge and honor the immigrants from many nations whose contributions have added so much to our rich heritage. Our university is blessed with a diverse and inclusive culture, which is built on the legacy of all those who have come before us. Today, we pledge to uphold that legacy as we continue to pursue our motto, whatsoever things are true. On behalf of our entire community, I'm delighted to welcome you all to this convocation. We are very pleased that so many friends and family members could join us as we celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates. Graduation from the University of Alberta is a significant milestone and one that you'll remember for a lifetime, and we're honored to share this day and ceremony with you. The tradition of convocation, which in Latin means a gathering together of all qualified degree holders in a university community, dates back almost 700 years to medieval times. So many generations of scholars have walked in your footsteps. Led by our marshal, today's formal procession to the stage originates in the procession of the Guild of Teachers. Our university coat of arms, which appears on your parchment, includes the great horned owl, Alberta's provincial bird, the Book of Learning, the pronghorn from Alberta's coat of arms, and our own golden bear, mascot of our university. Our university motto, Caecumque Vera, Latin for whatsoever things are true, is at the foundation. As Chancellor, I wear the university green and gold with great pride and respect. You'll note that the many different academic gowns on stage and their hoods and caps declare, in their various designs and colors, the qualifications of the faculty and graduates who are here to celebrate with you. Similarly, your academic apparel signifies to everyone here and to society your degree of proficiency as graduates. Today, each of you will cross the stage as your name is called, and that will be the most important moment of our ceremony. Your degree will be conferred as we congratulate you and shake hands on stage. And that moment will bind you and the University of Alberta together for all time. Your family and friends are witness to that commitment, and all of the history and tradition within today's ceremony is in honor of you, our graduates. And that's, of course, why we're all here today, to celebrate you and your future. We're also extremely privileged to welcome Dr. Russell Schnell, who has accepted our invitation to receive an honorary doctorate of science, which we'll award shortly. An honorary degree recognizes inspiring role models and leaders, celebrates extraordinary achievements, or recognizes remarkable service to society. Also joining the celebration on the stage today is our president, Dr. Indira Samarasekera, board representative, Mr. Leroy Johnson. I'm also pleased to welcome on stage many other dignitaries, but particularly including the senators from the University of Alberta and those particularly who represent this area. Senator Jerry Awanas, Senator Larry Johnson, Senator Harry Guidey, and Senator Colleen Wilson, who has deep roots in the Augustana and Camrose area, as well as a number of other Senate and Senate alumni. Of course, also on stage today are many senior staff, your Dean, Dr. Alan Berger, and professors from the Academy. And we're all here to celebrate, and I hope that you will very much enjoy this day. So now I'd like to start by inviting greetings from our University Board of Governors. I'd like to ask Mr. Leroy Johnson if he'd come forward and bring greetings. Thank you.
Eminent Chancellor, Mr. Ralph Young, President, Dr. Indira Samarasekera, distinguished guests, graduates, families, and friends. I'm honored to be here today to bring greetings on behalf of the Board of Governors of the University of Alberta. Convocation is a special time when the entire university community gathers to celebrate your tremendous achievements. Indeed, we have much to celebrate, but today we especially gather to celebrate you, the graduating class of 2015. You have achieved a level of excellence which will be forever recognized in your university degree, a University of Alberta degree. As a representative of the Board of Governors, I want to assure you that the University of Alberta remains steadfast in its pursuit of being amongst the world's great public universities, and our Board of Governors stands united in its commitment to excellence across the entire institution. It is indeed an extraordinary time for the University of Alberta and our province. Your degree positions you to compete with the very best in the world. You're only limited by your own ambition and creativity, both of which I know you have in abundance. In short, graduates, you are our pride and joy. And I know you will bring great honor to our institution as you work to solve the many challenges currently facing our communities, our province, and indeed the world. The Board of Governors salutes you today, and we hope this ceremony will be remembered as a highlight in a full and satisfying career. Remain ambitious and remain creative in your pursuits. Congratulations to you and your families, and our very best wishes in all of your future endeavors. I'd like at this time to introduce Mr. Bruce Hinckley, the MLA for Wetaskiwin Camrose.
Good afternoon. My name is Bruce Hinckley, and I am the MLA for Wetaskiwin Camrose. Congratulations to all the graduating students, to their dedicated professors and instructors, and to their proud parents. Welcome one and all. This outstanding institution of liberal arts, Augustana University, the South Campus of the University of Alberta. To you, I bring greetings on behalf of our new Premier, Rachel Notley, the Minister of Advanced Education, Laurie Sigurdsson. Best wishes and congratulations. One piece of advice I have to give you is never give a politician a microphone. However, I promise to keep my remarks short and concise. Enjoy this moment of celebration. Ponder the time and effort it took to get here. Dream big. Love the people you are with. Recognize that failures are just steps towards success. Whether you are Thomas Edison, whose over 900 plus failed experiments eventually resulted in the light bulb, or Abraham Lincoln, who suffered 7 electoral defeats before he became president. Do not let failing happen to you. You do not fail until you quit trying. Seek happiness by sharing happiness with others, and do not let the imposters of materialism and greed dominate your life. Live within your means. Live to learn and learn to live. Convocation is happening today, but your journey to be a lifelong learner is still underway. I congratulate you on this milestone. I wish you all the best as you travel beyond the borders of Augustana. May you arrive where you want to go. Thank you very much.
Class of 2015, come with me, if you will, on an imaginative journey. Leave this pomp and circumstance for just a moment and cast your mind back to your first day on Augustana campus at the University of Alberta. Who were you then? What hopes did you have? Did you feel a bit overwhelmed arriving on campus? A little unsure about whether you were in the right program, let alone the right building? Or did you feel like you were finally in the right place, ready to become the person you wanted to be? We all have our unique University of Alberta beginnings. I'll never forget one of my first days as president. I was feeling confident and excited, convinced that I was ready to take on the biggest challenge of my life. So out I went during orientation week to speak to students and hand out some U of A goodies. Having just done the research for my interview, I was keen to see what the students knew about their university. When was the U of A founded? I asked one bright-eyed student. 1779, he responded, with great certainty. I suggested he try a history course. I asked another student, who was the first president of the U of A? I received a blank look. After a few seconds, the student said, and who are you? I asked, who do you think I am? Her face brightened, and she said, you must be the student union president. How flattering to be mistaken for a 20-year-old. But I knew right then that I had work to do. Having the title of president was one thing, becoming a leader she could respect and recognize, that I would have to earn. And so my own U of A education began. Today, we celebrate the educational journey that you and I began on that first day. The U of A has taught me more than I thought possible. I hope you feel the same. In past years, I've had to rely on memories of my own convocation to find the words of advice I'd like to share today. But this year, it's different. This year, after 10 years as president, I too am leaving the U of A without a degree. Like many of you, I'm not entirely sure of what I'm doing next. I'm even moving back with my family. Well, to be honest, my daughter and her family are moving back with me while they have house renovations done. But right about now, without a definite plan, it feels frighteningly close to moving back into the basement. So here we are, you and I, excited and apprehensive at the same time. It's been such a privilege for me to lead this great university and to see so many talented graduates cross this stage. When I reflect on the last decade, my main aim as a person and as your president has been to set myself and every student on a journey to excellence. Today is just the first stop for you on that lifetime endeavor. I believe that excellence is not merely rooted in ambition and achievement, as many people think, but in something quite different. It's not about your grade point average or academic awards. In fact, it's not a goal at all. Instead, seeking excellence is a process or a way of living your life. Excellence is that point on the horizon, giving you direction. I first learned this from my father, who was a ear, nose, and throat specialist in Sri Lanka, called Ceylon at the time. Every day, he toiled away caring for thousands of extremely poor patients. Faced with this daily grind, my father might have chosen to treat his patients quickly, doing only what was necessary to help them out the door, without thinking deeply about their chronic illnesses. But he was a person who sought excellence in everything he did. Good enough was not in his repertoire. In my youth, he uncovered a bioelectric disturbance in the inner ear, which caused debilitating dizziness. He then devised a minor operation to treat the condition, which brought unimaginable relief to his patients. I was only a teenager, but I was struck by his passion and deep caring for his patients. His daily caring had translated into excellence. His actions remind me of a favorite quote. Excellence can be attained if you risk more than others think is safe, care more than others think is wise, dream more than others think is practical, and expect more than others think is possible. Here at the U of A, I have continued to learn this lesson many times over. As you launch your careers, I would like to be able to assure you that with thoughtful planning, the journey towards excellence goes in a straight line. But it doesn't. No doubt you already know this. Life constantly surprises us, good or bad. Sometimes you can feel completely derailed by the unexpected. It's how we respond to and learn from these surprises that is our true test. Start by using the skills you've gained over your degree. Approach every problem and opportunity with both critical thinking skills and imagination. Connect the dots between ideas and people. Pay attention to those details that others may have missed. Read and do research so that you understand the full context of the issue. Seek alternate perspectives. Yours alone will never provide a full picture. The last point is important. Your generation is often touted as the most connected generation in human history. Hard to imagine. But when I became president, social media was so new. In fact, Facebook didn't even exist, that no one really had an understanding of its potential. Communications technology has made all of our lives infinitely easier. I can send an email, Skype into a meeting, or text a quick instruction and get things done. But I've learned that we can sometimes mistake efficiency for quality. Without face-to-face communication, which engages all 5 of our senses, technology can sometimes dehumanize and create misunderstanding. You may get things done, but you may find that you're doing them alone. As an African proverb teaches, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. I think of my father and the thousands of conversations he must have had with his patients. Nothing would have come of them if he hadn't been listening with his whole self. The University of Alberta has a deep, resonant spirit and purpose that injects this kind of human connection into the heart of all we do. It goes back to our first president, Henry Marshall Tory, and his call for us to be a university for uplifting the whole people. His call resonated in 1908, perhaps because Alberta's pioneers had risked more than others thought wise and believed that they could build a better future for themselves and for others. Tory's call has grown stronger in our awareness that central Alberta was home to gathering places where Aboriginal peoples of many nations came together for centuries in both spiritual and economic harmony. They knew that only by caring more than others think wise can we survive and prosper. There's fierce pride in community and its corresponding commitment to serve and uplift others are hardwired into Augustana and the U of A. They are now a part of me, and they're now a part of you. They give our journey towards excellence a deeper meaning. Graduates, each one of you has your own particular U of A story. Continue to live out that story with purpose and vision. I ask you to risk more, to care more, to dream more, and expect more of yourself than you thought possible. And always remember, by seeking for excellence and striving to fulfill your highest potential, you can and will become a person who uplifts others and makes the human community better for all. Congratulations to all of you and good luck.
Eminent Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate of the University of Alberta, I am honored to introduce Russell Clifford Schnell for the honorary degree of Doctor of Science. Born in rural Alberta and educated at the University of Alberta, Dr. Schnell's life and accomplishments represent the highest ideals of a liberal education. He is an accomplished researcher, a leader and volunteer who is committed to the public good, and a lifelong contributor to the community where he grew up, Castor, Alberta. His distinguished career in atmospheric science includes a number of internationally recognized research projects. His discovery of biological ice nuclei established a new field and led to numerous commercial and medical applications. His study of Arctic haze in Canada's north helped document a linkage to air pollution from Eastern Europe and Russia. His research on atmospheric carbon dioxide and the ozone layer on behalf of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change contributed to the body of work that led the Nobel Committee to award the Peace Prize to the IPCC in 2007. Dr. Schnell continues to challenge each of us to understand the impact of human behavior on the environment and to do what we can to prevent further degradation. Dr. Schnell once wrote, quote, "We are affecting the extremely thin atmosphere dramatically, so we need to understand that. Collecting information about the atmosphere by measuring the contents of the air is like collecting information about people from the garbage they throw out. If I went to your apartment every week and collected your garbage, after a period of 2 or 3 years, I would know an awful lot about you and your health, your financial situation, and whatever by simply looking at what you throw away." End quote. By measuring what all of us collectively discard into the atmosphere, Dr. Schnell has assisted with the very same assessments, except on a planetary scale. His work has taken him from the Arctic to Mount Kenya, the Mauna Loa Observatory in Hawaii, and the Earth System Research Lab in Colorado. Today, he oversees research examining ozone depletion, atmospheric constituents capable of forcing climate change, and baseline air quality monitoring. He is widely respected for his innovative scholarship, ethical conduct, and integrity. Eminent Chancellor, with great pride and respect, I present to you Russell Clifford Schnell.
Russell Clifford Schnell, in recognition of outstanding contributions to scholarship and international collaboration in atmospheric and environmental sciences, I desire to confer upon you the honorary degree of Doctor of Science, and to express the hope that we shall continue to be blessed by your wise counsel for many years to come. Congratulations, Russell. I'll hold this aside and you leave you the microphone.
Sure. How about I will go this way?
Oh, okay. I was going to hide it till later.
It's too big to hide.
Eminent Chancellor, President, Board of Governors, graduates, friends, and family, it's a great honor to be here today. When I give speeches, I know the first part of the speech where it starts. I have no idea where the speech will end. So this is an experience for both of us today. But half a century ago, that's more than 50 years ago, I was a student at University of Alberta. And I was probably sitting in a room like this at some convocation. But that same, I was a student, and after my second year, I was awarded or whatever, selected to enter medical school. In those days, you only had to go to college for 2 years, and if you applied and your marks looked reasonable, you were allowed to go to medical school. But at the same time, I was offered a scholarship to go to the Memorial University in Newfoundland, and I grabbed that opportunity over medical school because it could take a train ride. The longest train ride in Canada possible was from Edmonton to St. John's, Newfoundland, also going across Newfoundland on what was then called the Newfie Bullet. It's no longer there. So I didn't go to medical school. Had I gone to medical school, probably this year I would have been retiring as the doctor in the small town of Castor where I grew up. That's about 100 miles southeast of here, just south of the Battle River. It's a small town, 1,000 population on a good day. And I grew up there, and I thought and I believed that that was the most incredible place a young person could grow up. There was so much to do. There was so much interaction with people. It was just an impossible time to do even half of what you wanted to do or could do. The word boredom never existed in a town like that. And my plan was to go back and be the village doctor, but I was subverted. Now, many of you come from rural backgrounds, and when I was younger, I found that people, especially some urban people, looked down, or at least held their nose a little higher or sneered a little bit at rural people because they weren't as cool as they were. But I found out that that was a disadvantage to many of those people, because when I went to apply for scholarships or other awards like that, I had a great advantage coming from a rural area because I knew how to interact with people. In a small town, you have to know how to work with many people. You interact with them, and your reputation is really important. It doesn't take much to screw it up. If you are found to be a cheater or a liar, everybody knows that, and you carry that with you for as long as you live in that town. And from this experience, I would like to say to those of you who are from rural areas and from small towns that you have a tremendous advantage over many, many people in this world, because you have a background and a basic integrity that most and many rural people or urban people do not have. So also, I found that if you come from a small town, you believe in the humanity and the goodness of people, that it's very basic, that most people in the world are good. Some other parts of the world, this might not be the standard, but I find that that is, at least where I grew up in Alberta and this part of the country, this was the truth. And this is something that I believe, coming from a smaller area, that you have a great chance to grow on, and especially in Augustana University, those are the principles and some of the background that this institution has. So be proud of that. And let me tell you some stories that bear upon growing up in rural areas and how it has affected my life, and I'm sure it has affected yours. And the first story I'll tell you is long and involved, but I think a little bit of interesting, and it has elements of trust and fairness about growing up in a rural area and how that has transformed, at least in my life. In 1971, that's a long time ago, I guess, I took a 5-month backpacking trip, and it started in, of course, Alberta, and went across Canada, went across Europe, and across Russia. Yes, you could do it in those days if you were willing to be patient and not frighten people. You could go across to Russia, and I took a month to do that. I went from the western part of Russia. I came in on East Germany, went across Poland, went across Russia, came out on the east side, took a boat over to Japan. Then I dropped down about 10 degrees and came back through Nepal, Burma, Thailand, and India, and places like that. But in 1971, historically, you'll remember there was a war in that area called the Bangladesh War. And I came in there about after the 3rd week, and things were pretty chaotic. And I ended up with no money, no food, and no way to get out of the country. I didn't have a ticket, and there were no airlines flying anyway. I heard after a few days that there was a flight probably going to go to London on British Airways to pick up some stranded sailors. So I went to the airport, and in those days you didn't have credit cards, there were no cell phones, internet wasn't invented, and telephone calls, if you could make them, cost you a whole bunch, and you had to book them a few days ahead, but during the war, everything was blacked out. So I had really no resources, except I had a check on a bank account in Swansea, Wales, at Lloyd's Bank, because I'd had an account there some years before, and it had been closed, and of course there was no money in the account, but somehow in my backpack, which was all of my lifelong possessions, I had a blank check. So I went to the airlines, wrote out the check, and said, I'd like to fly on that flight. And they said, well, okay, come back in a couple days, we'll check out your check. I came back 2 days later, of course, expecting them to say, I'm sorry, your check was no good. but they gave me a ticket, and they said, your flight leaves in 2 days in the evening. And I was totally flabbergasted, but happy, of course, because I was a little hungry at that time, and I needed to get out of the country because the war was a little chaotic. And when I got to the UK, I, of course, felt a little guilty for having written a bad check, but somebody had stood for me. So I took a train out to Wales and found the banker who had signed that check. And I asked him, why on earth did you do that? I thank you, but why did you do that? And he said, well, I looked up, when I got this check, I looked up your record when you had applied for an account at this bank, and it said that you were from a rural area in Canada, in Alberta. And he then said, any student who would apply to come to the University of Wales had to be a student who wanted to study and not party. And he also said, from looking at your record, I figured you might be trustworthy. And he did say, though, after I was leaving, I did think two things. Anybody who would write a check from India with no money in an account must be in real dire need or must be crazy. I'm very glad that he didn't focus on the last part of that. After I left, I, of course, made good on the check, but I didn't have to. I could have just disappeared. And it took me 3 days to get out to Wales and to find him and to tell him I would make it up. But I could have just disappeared because he had no way of knowing me, of checking up on me or anything. But he trusted me, and in turn, I was fair to pay him back. I wrote a very nice letter to the head of Lloyd's Bank where he was employed, and I actually sent it to the headquarters, and I heard about 8 years later when I went back to Wales and inquired that he was moving up in the ranks of management. So I'd like to think that my letter helped him a bit. But maybe on the other side, his trust in people and his ability to discern trust in other people probably helped him as much. And that is just one small lesson of many that you'll have in life where two things are really important, and that's trust and fairness. And trust when there's no way to check up on you, and fairness when nobody can look upon you. Very, very important things to do. Now you students didn't know that you're going to have an exam before you get out of here today. And those of you who don't pass won't get one of those. I have a globe here, and I'm going to put my hand over Augustana and bring it down slowly. And I want you, pretend that some of you are going to be teachers and you're in a school now, and you have a globe like this, and you ask the students, draw me a picture of how thick the world's atmosphere is. Okay, the size of this globe, thickness of the atmosphere, okay? And I want to hear your votes, loud and clear. I'm going to bring my hand down, and I want to hear you tell me when you think we're at top of 90% of the world's air. First vote. Some say higher. Most of you are not committing, are you? Hey, there's the ones that know. They did their science. I put 2 of my gray hairs on top of Camrose here. That's as thick as 90% of the world's atmosphere. Think about that for a minute. It's extremely thin. When you fly on an aircraft from here to Calgary or from Edmonton to Calgary, 90% of the mass of the world's air is beneath the aircraft. 90%. At 6,000 meters, half of the world's air. A good high-powered rifle will shoot through half of the world's atmosphere. It's very thin. Now, mankind is changing that atmosphere very rapidly. If you burn 1 liter of gasoline, you produce 3 kilograms of carbon dioxide. 1 liter, 3 kilograms. Of those 3 kilograms, half of them will stay in the atmosphere for 1,000 years. So what? Why do we care about CO2 in the air? The CO2 in the atmosphere acts like a feather in a feather bed. The world is heated from below, not above. The sun comes zipping through the atmosphere, hits the surface, changes to a long-wave radiation, and that radiates up, and that's what warms the atmosphere. If you don't believe me, why do you go to the mountains in the summer to get cool? You're going up higher, you should be closer to the sun, you should be warmer. It's exactly the opposite. So as the Earth is being heated from below, carbon dioxide molecules capture little bits of heat exactly the same way as a feather in a feather bed. So the world's atmosphere is a global feather bed. Since the 1800s, mankind has doubled the number of feathers in that bed. So we are holding a lot more heat. Basic physics cannot be argued. And the basic physics is that we've changed the atmosphere such that we are in an experiment now of changing the temperature of the Earth. And it cannot be stopped unless we stop using fossil fuels, and that is probably an unrealistic. So there's going to be some people on the Earth that are going to benefit from climate change or global warming. Others will feel it. But all of us will talk a lot about it, and we'll know that it's happening. Now, my time is running out. Back to Swansea, Wales. Did you ever wonder, or just a few minutes ago, ask yourself, how did I end up in Swansea, Wales? I won a scholarship to any university in the world, basically. I might have gone to Harvard or Oxford or someplace, but I wanted to join the sexual revolution. That may not mean much to you nowadays, but in our days, the world was pretty puritanical, and the only place that really had a different sexual mores was Sweden. So on my application, they said, where do you want to go? And my writing is atrocious. I would have made a good MD because of my bad writing. I wrote Sweden, but only thing that they could read when they got the application was S-W, vowel, and then some scribble. So after a long time, they figured out I wanted to go to Swansea. If any of you know anything about Swansea, in Wales, it's the most conservative university in the United Kingdom, and it has a reputation for that. So it was a little bit of a surprise to me when I got there. But my rural Albertan values really fit in rather well to the culture, and I really enjoyed it there, and I still have friends that I had made in those 45, 50 years ago. In fact, my roommate ended up marrying an American girl that I had brought by for him to visit, and she stayed there, and he became a Queen's Court judge, with the ones that wear those frilly tops and those big red pantaloons with white panties and white. Pretty funny to see him anyway. So in closing, people are supposed to tell you great things about what's going to happen to you, but I really can't tell you much other than a few words of wisdom, and in that it's your environment, your politics, your livelihoods, and your lifestyles will change dramatically, more than you could ever think. Just talk to your parents and grandparents and ask them what it was like in their lives when it was your age. And it's amazing the things that you take for granted now weren't even around when I was a student. And as the president said, things like social media. I grew up without water and sewer in the house. I grew up without computers, without cell phones, without internet. Those are all very recent things. Without cars, we had cars, but very few people used them. So your life is going to change more dramatically than your parents and grandparents. So please take time to ask them what they've gone through, and then multiply it probably by 3 to 5, because that's what the change you're going to see. So at this point, I wish you well in this exciting journey, which I can assure you will be fantastic. Thank you.
Dr. Schnell, thank you so much. Your address did end exactly where it should have ended, with great inspiration for our students, a great message. We first want to welcome you and your family back to your great prairie roots. You've shown us how important those prairie roots can be. Small town Alberta, big town Alberta, Aboriginal Alberta, all Albertans cherish and value the kind of roots that you have experienced and you have also reminded us about today. You've also reminded us about the importance of serendipity, how a train trip across Canada to Newfoundland changed your life from being a doctor to being a world-renowned scientist who's made an important impact in our world. You've also taught us to be able to write a little more clearly. So if we're writing Sweden, we spell it S-W-E-D-E-N and not Swansea. But again, thank you so much. I hope we got the sign the register, which is the official record of Dr. Schnell's award of the honorary degree, and now makes him a second recipient of a degree from the University of Alberta following his original his original Bachelor of Science in 1966. So again, Dr. Schnell, congratulations and thank you. And now, graduates, it's your turn. As the name of each graduate is called to cross the stage, I will formally admit you to your degrees, and all three of us will have an opportunity to congratulate you. When we shake hands, that will be the moment that your degree is conferred and you become a graduate of Augustana campus at the University of Alberta. At the end of your journey across the stage, you'll be presented with your official Alumni Association pin symbolizing the next phase of your life as a University of Alberta alumnus. And I hope you'll cherish that, as I have for the past 45 years, as having the great privilege of having a University of Alberta degree, and all that means and all that will contribute to your life for many years to come. So thank you, and I look forward to meeting you on stage.
Would the candidates please rise? Eminent Chancellor and President, on behalf of the faculty, I present to you these scholars and ask that they be pledged and admitted to the degrees to which they are entitled.
Do you promise faithfully to observe and loyally to maintain the statutes, customs, privileges, and liberties of this, your university? Do you solemnly promise to conduct yourself in all things loyally and faithfully to the honor of your university, the encouragement of learning, and the good of your country? These things I pledge myself to do.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the legislature of this province, and with the consent of this university, I admit you to the degrees to which you are entitled, and invest you with all the powers, rights, and privileges pertaining to such degrees. I charge you to use them for uplifting of the whole people, to inspire the human spirit, and for all who believe to serve your God. And finally, to pursue more steadfastly whatsoever things are true. Please be seated.
Candidates, please come forward to have their degrees conferred. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree with distinction, winner of the Department of Social Sciences Medal and the winner of the Augustana Medal, Stacy Levi Hogan. This award will be presented by the President.
Hogan is this year's recipient of the Augustana Medal, awarded to the student convocating from Augustana faculty with the highest academic achievement based on a cumulative GPA. Stacy is convocating today with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Studies. She has received countless awards that recognize her outstanding accomplishments along the way, including the Louise McKinney Post-Secondary Scholarship, the University of Alberta Roger S. Smith Undergraduate Student Research Award. Throughout her education, Stacy has been active in campus and community engagement, acting as the Vice President of the Augustana Faculty Politics Club, the Deputy Returning Officer for the Augustana Faculty Student Association elections, and as a youth group leader for local churches. Stacy will continue on her academic path in the fall when she begins the Master of Arts in Global Governance program at the Balsillie School of International Affairs in Waterloo. Congratulations, Stacy. Well done.
Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree, Jill Caroline Alcorn, with distinction. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree and a certificate in Community Engagement and Service Learning, Brittany Del Arabia. Hans-Peter Haugen Asfeld, with distinction. Christopher Nathan O'Day. Jeremy Joel Barron. Nicolette Kirsten Ragna Bowden. Kelsey Michelle Bouvert. Eric William Brown. Sarah Lynn Brown with distinction. Taylor John Bolger. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree with distinction and a certificate in community mental health, Ashley Ann Campbell. Sarah Janelle Chappell with distinction. Cheyenne Noreen Marie Demarais with distinction. Aubrey Caitlin Duncan. Lauren Aubrey May Evanger. Ari Wilbert Evans. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree and a certificate in community mental health and a certificate in community engagement and service learning, Michelle Alana Fededniak. Matthew Michael Foster. Jamie Lee Foxwell. Brandon Michael Funk. Natasha Radine Gasek. Daryl Joseph Gagnon. Makendra Chanel Gillard with distinction. Taryn Eileen Gimtrosky with distinction. Madeline Cynthia Goodman with distinction. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree and a certificate in Community Mental Health, Caitlin Darlene Haynes. Dylan James Michael Hebert. Stephanie Joy Hildebrand with distinction. Carly Brianne Horkoff. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree with distinction and a certificate in writing studies, Brittany Catherine Johnson. Brianne Sidney Cano. To Jill Law. Brendan Theodore Lehman. Ryan Ronald Lindsay with distinction. Jamin Timothy Riley Lockhart with distinction. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree and a certificate in Community Engagement and Service Learning, Carolina Malloy. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree with distinction and a certificate in Community Engagement and Service Learning, Connor Neil Austin Malone. Sean Edward James Malone. Sarah Johanna McCrae with distinction. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree and a certificate in Community Mental Health, Taylor Rose McLean. Alex Violet Gertrude Meaver. Kathleen Cray Melnichuk. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree with distinction and winner of the Humanities Medal, Emily Annika Holliston Merklinger. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree and a certificate in community mental health, Nathan Ryan Milley. Michael Mosich. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree and a certificate in community engagement and service learning, Charlene Alice Marie Ness. Louise Margaret Omesu. Carly Lynn Payne. Grayson Ronald Parrish. Nathan Janice Plumite. Stephanie Lee Reimer with distinction. Summer Dawn Roasting with distinction. Michael Rosine. Lauren Shirley Sarvis. Allison Page Saunders. Michelle Catherine Schmidt with distinction. Carlanne Grace Scott with distinction. Vincent Paul Seeger with distinction. Daniel Gary Gruey Shepherd. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree, a certificate in community mental health, and a certificate in community engagement and service learning, Stephanie Marie Smook. April Lorraine Strandland. Catherine Ann Swampy. Linda Alice Tollefson. Cody Mackenzie Torkelson, with distinction. Cora Dulcie Van Zandbergen, with distinction. Landon Reese Vanek. Carlina Marie Weber, with distinction. Cecil Gregory White. Mark Christopher Wilms. Jeffrey Douglas Woodall. Graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree, Brett David Anderson. Amy Galina Avdif. Caitlin Annika Beyer, with distinction. Sierra Bailey. Lee Michael Bauman, with distinction. Receiving a Bachelor of Science degree with distinction, a certificate in community engagement and service learning, and a certificate in sustainability, Kalaine Lori Paulette Brand. Sheldon Zane Browse, with distinction. Nicole Lynn Derianko. Adil Mohammed Al-Sayed. Taylor James Foreman, with distinction. Andrew Martin Friend. Robin Allison Torpy Furness with distinction. William Lee Koken. Pearl Dawn Crone with distinction. Kayla Nicole Muzeka. Johanna Frida Mikati. Taylor Ray Nelson with distinction. Travis Scott Perkins. Amy Dawn Pritchard. Vanessa Ann Rice with distinction. Allison Carey Rodvang with distinction. Alan James Shannon. Receiving a Bachelor of Science degree with distinction and graduating later this week with a Bachelor of Education degree, the first graduate of the Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Education Secondary Combined Degree Program, Augustana, Erin Lindsay Sharp. Raymond Alan Spelly. Jory Lee Smith. Receiving a Bachelor of Science degree with distinction, a certificate in sustainability, and winner of the Department of Science Medal, Erin Rayanne Specht. Receiving a Bachelor of Science degree and a certificate in community engagement and service learning, Jennifer Lee Stonechild. Receiving a Bachelor of Science degree with distinction, a certificate in community mental health, and a certificate in community engagement and service learning, Paige Marjorie Switzer. Jordan Adrian Tersteg. Sylvia Teresa Toulouse. Alicia Kayla Wagner, with distinction. Ryan David Wales, with distinction. Rachel Warwick. Jonathan Wireman, with distinction. Bradley Dale Wills, with distinction. Graduating with a Bachelor of Management degree, Clark Garrett Adcock. Rashmi Ravishankar Bale. Bradley Earl Burke. Kenneth Gordon Bradley. Receiving a Bachelor of Management degree and a Certificate in Community Engagement and Service Learning, Grace Bratland. Receiving a Bachelor of Management degree and a Certificate in Community Engagement and Service Learning, Joel Austin Daniluk. Larissa Ann Hepp, with distinction. Devin Allen Hobbs, with distinction. Muhammad Sajid Iftikhar. Adam Neil Thorvald Johnson, with distinction. Myla Brianne Large, with distinction. Ashley Sang. Tram Hai Bao Nguyen. Receiving a Bachelor of Management degree and a Certificate in Community Engagement and Service Learning, Nicole Elizabeth Rodriguez Garcia. Kamal Farid Saif. Cody Patrick Trenton Stokowski with distinction. Jerry Sun. Jocelyn Kimberly Weichel with distinction. Graduating with a Bachelor of Music degree, Catherine Marie Harder. Graduating with a Bachelor of Music degree with distinction and winner of the Fine Arts Medal, Spencer James Krzyzanowski. Stephanie Dawn Miles with distinction. Evelyn Marie Schaefer with distinction.
Eminent Chancellor, on behalf of the faculty, I present to you the remaining scholars whose names appear in the convocation program, but who are not in attendance. I'm proud to say that Alberta has more inclusive post-secondary initiatives and more experience with inclusive post-secondary education than any jurisdiction in the world. Initiated by families with the support of advocates in 1987, the University of Alberta became the first university to offer inclusive post-secondary education. Since then, with the support of Alberta Association for Community Living and Persons with Developmental Disabilities, 18 post-secondary institutions across the province are now offering inclusive educational opportunities to students with developmental disabilities. This year, the University of Alberta Augustana campus is pleased to give special recognition to Candace Ray Ames and Caden Prevost. For the past 4 years, Candace and Caden have participated in university courses as auditing students with support from the Inclusive Post-Secondary Education Initiative. From our perspective, this has been a monumental accomplishment, with not only Candace and Caden benefiting, but also our campus and the university as a whole. We hope that Candace and Caden will use the knowledge and skills they have gained for the benefit of others in the wider community. I would now like to ask Candace and Caden to rise and be recognized, and ask all of you once again to please join in congratulating them on their accomplishments and wishing them the best of luck in all of their future endeavors.
Wow, what a great afternoon. Don't you think so? Today is a truly proud moment for the University of Alberta. In total, we will graduate 6,649 students this spring convocation. Today, we also welcome Dr. Russell Schnell into the U of A community. Didn't he have some wonderful stories? Wow, thank you. Great words of wisdom. Let his example as a leader, as a lifelong seeker of excellence, inspire you in the years to come. Graduates, you are now part of the U of A's family of more than 270,000 living alumni. Your U of A degree can never be dissolved. Think of our colors, school colors, green and gold. Gold is a precious metal that withstands the ravages of time. It can be molded into any shape, stretched into a fine thread, and still retain its fundamental qualities. Green, on the other hand, is a symbol of growth and change, of new beginnings. Taken together, green and gold encapsulate what I hope your education means to you. I hope it is a permanent and enriching feature of your life, as well as an important source of lifelong personal and professional growth. Graduates, it's your turn to get up, turn around, and give a huge round of applause to your families and friends who supported you. Please welcome. Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of you once again.
Eminent Chancellor, my name is Sandra Gawad Gad, and it's my honor to welcome you and officially induct you to the University of Alberta Alumni Association. Among your alumni family are a Prime Minister, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, a Nobel laureate, as well as many other outstanding business leaders, artists, educators, and humanitarians all around the world. Alumni, all dedicated to uplifting the whole people. A century ago, a group of graduates from the University of Alberta came together in the belief that they could do more together than they could do separately. For over 100 years, alumni like us have been doing great things. Bienvenue à notre famille mondiale. Graduates, would you please stand? As a new ambassador for the University of Alberta, I call upon you to use the knowledge you've gained here for the betterment of yourselves and others. I call upon you to maintain a lifelong connection with your university. As alumnus of the University of Alberta, be proud of your degree and your fellow alumni. Nurture lifelong friendship cultivated on this campus. Celebrate our university's many successes and recommend it to others. take part in your Alumni Association many events and activities. You're officially a lifetime member of the powerful worldwide network of friends and colleagues. On behalf of all alumni, I'm very pleased to welcome you to the University of Alberta Alumni Association. Félicitations et bonne chance. Congratulations and best wishes in all your future endeavors. Please be seated. Thank you.
This has been an exciting year at Augustana, one marked by important events such as the Respecting the Land Conference and the impressive performance of Carmina Burana by choirs from Edmonton to Camrose in the Jean and Peter Lougheed Performing Arts Center, by an appearance of our men's volleyball team in the national championship, and by extraordinary levels of student service and engagement with the community. This graduating class in this past year will certainly have a special place in my own memories. Along with all the other speakers, I extend my congratulations to you, our graduates, the class of 2015. We who have been your teachers have entered this profession not just because of a burning passion for our disciplines, but also because we have discovered that teaching is a way for us to make a meaningful investment in the future. It is, for most of us, our means of committing to the construction of a better world. You, our graduates, give us many good reasons to be hopeful. And for that, we say thank you. At this time, I would also like to thank the many individuals who have contributed to our celebrations today. First, I would like to recognize the dignitaries here on the stage, including Chancellor Ralph Young, Board Representative Leroy Johnson, President Indira Samarasekera, University Registrar Lisa Collins, and the 10 representatives of the University Senate who have joined us this afternoon. I wish to acknowledge that this is the final Augustana Convocation for President Samarasekera. Indira, thank you for your many lasting contributions to the University of Alberta and to this campus, and best wishes in your future endeavors. In addition, it is a pleasure to recognize and thank the Honorable Bruce Hinckley, newly elected MLA for Wetaskiwin-Camrose, and City Council member and former U of A Board of Governors member Agnes Haviland, who today is representing the City of Camrose. I also wish to recognize William Lau, former Board of Governors member and outgoing Student Union president. I am especially grateful to our convocation speaker, Russell Schnell. Thank you, Russell, for your remarks today and for your important contributions to the science of climate change. In addition, it's a pleasure to welcome back Augustana University College and University of Alberta Professors Emeriti David Dolly, Gary Gibson, Dave Larson, and Bai Reeser. Finally, to my good friend Sandra Gawad-Gad, thank you for representing the University of Alberta Alumni Association, and congratulations on your recent acceptance to a PhD program on North Campus in rehabilitation medicine. During convocation ceremonies, as many of you already know, the University of Alberta recognizes the academic accomplishments of graduating Aboriginal students by presenting those who wish to participate with an offering by an elder. We at Augustana adopted this process in 2008. Since then, students at Augustana have elected to receive either an eagle feather or a Métis sash. Today's presentation was performed by Elder Bernice Stoney Buffalo from the Samson Cree Nation in Musquechees, with assistance from Petra Sigelny, who directs the Augustana Aboriginal Student Center. Our grateful thanks to both of you. In all, there were 13 declared Aboriginal graduates this year. Finally, I would like to thank the Capitol Brass for their role in our ceremony, along with our graduating vocalist, of whom we are especially proud, Evelyn Schaefer. As we conclude today's ceremony, I would like to invite all of you to join our graduates as observers and, if you wish, as photographers, as we take a final group photograph of our graduating class. This will take place in the chapel. After the photo op, all graduates and guests are invited to assemble along College Lane for the 2015 graduate tree planting ceremony. You are also all invited to the alumni reception in the forum. This event is hosted by the Augustana alumni as a welcome and celebration of their newest members. There is also additional seating in the Faith and Life Lounge outside the chapel. I look forward during the reception to greeting and congratulating many of you. For extra fun and a souvenir to mark the day, we also invite graduates, their family, and friends to pose for photos at the complimentary photo booth, which is sponsored by the University of Alberta alumni. Many members of our class of 2015 participated in an Augustana tradition, the ringing of the centenary sculpture bell on their last day of classes. Graduates can pick up their photograph capturing this moment beside the welcome desk in the forum. And this is my personal gift to each of you. I thank all of our guests for your attendance today. This officially closes today's convocation. Please stay seated until the completion of the recessional. Thank you all very much.